What is up, guys? James here from the Light of Riga YouTube channel, and in this video we're going to be doing a reading for all my Cancerians. That's right, if you are a Cancer sun sign and you were born between the dates of June 21st and July 22nd, then this reading is for you. The spread we're going to do today is how to make forward progress in the next month for Cancers. And we're going to be using the Llewellyn Tarot, and this spread's going to tell us what you are doing well and what emotions, what actions, and what thoughts you can change or keep to make forward progress in your life. This is overall general spread, so you can apply the wisdom in this spread to any part of your life, whether it's career or relationships or spirituality. So this is a very broad general reading, but if you want a more specific reading tailored just for you, then head on over to my Etsy shop and put in the promo code FriendsandFam50 for 50% off all items in the shop for this month. And yes, I can tap into your energies and give you a more personalized reading. But for today, we're going to do a general reading, and we're going to ask the tarot, how can Cancer sun signs make forward progress in their lives? So give me a moment to center myself and shuffle these cards. All right, this is an 8-card spread, so let me deal out the cards. All right, here we go. We got it. So give me a second to get an overview of what this spread is trying to tell us, just real quickly. Got some major arcana. We've got a couple, one court card. Oh, very good, interesting. Okay. All right, so the first card we're going to look at is this Four of Pentacles. And this represents where you are now, right now. I'm getting the feeling, Cancerians, is that how you say it? I don't know. I suppose it is. I'm getting the feeling that you guys are a lot of you are kind of wrapped up in the physical aspects of life. A lot of you might be very, not stingy, not thrifty, but you're holding on too tight to your money. A lot of you. I get the feeling that, and not just in the literal sense like you don't want to spend it, but you're also investing a lot of time, energy, emotions into money, into the physicality of this world. You know, this could also represent clothes or cars or houses or whatever, you know, that physical, or food, whatever that physical thing is that brings you joy. A lot of you may be possibly holding on too tight and putting too much importance on it and putting too much time and energy invested into it, is the feeling I'm getting right now. So this to me says there might be some sort of imbalance in your energetic fields if you're spending that much time and energy into the physicality, into the pentacles aspect of things, and you might be spending a little bit too much energy into that. All right, here we go with emotions that are sabotaging your progress, and this is the universe or the world. I think it's called the universe in this deck, but traditionally it would be the world card. So these are your emotions that are sabotaging your progress. I'm getting the feeling that a lot of you are a little bit cold and distant. Is the things that I'm getting here. Maybe, you know, Cancer, you guys have a tendency to be kind of moody. And if someone's wronged you in some way, a lot of you will just, you know, do the cold shoulder sort of thing. You'll be very cold with another person if they've wronged you in some way. And I think that sort of emotion is kind of sabotaging you. It's not helping you, because, you know, when you crawl into your own shell, Cancer, you're not allowing an exchange of energy. You're not allowing that relationship to go anywhere but south, but down to the South Pole. You know what I mean? So, yeah, when you guys get into that sort of funk, when you withdraw to yourselves and you get kind of cold with other people and distant with other people, I think that's something that's hurting you as a whole, Cancers, because it's not serving you in any way here. This card represents how to change emotions to make progress, and we've got the Six of Pentacles. And this card is about sharing. So as it relates to the other card, you know, your emotions, if you're going to be kind of shut off and cold, I think the best way to change that is to be more open and sharing. You know, it's very hard to share your emotions with someone who's not willing to share their own. So this card points to a give and take, you know, in order to share emotions, you're going to have to, you know, it's a two-way road. It's a 50-50 agreement. So I think this card is telling you that you should be more open and more willing to share what you're feeling with other people in order to make forward progress as a human being. You definitely need to be not so cut off with Cancers, you guys like to cut yourselves off a lot. I feel like when you know, you're emotionally unhappy, you will kind of go back into your shell is basically what I'm trying to say. So if you have that tendency, then think about, you know, maybe being open and more sharing of myself will help you understand why you're having these emotions, A, and B, get past those emotions and get back to the good emotions that you want to have. So definitely I'm getting the sense of an open communication as far as emotions goes. This card here represents thoughts that are sabotaging your progress. And this goes along with this card. The Five of Pentacles here is telling me that it seems like a lot of your thoughts are dwelling on money and maybe the fear of scarcity, maybe the fear of not having enough money, and the fear of what will happen. Will I lose my home? Will I go starving? Will I be on the streets? You know, those kind of thoughts are kind of sabotaging your progress, Cancers, because, you know, like I said at the beginning of this episode, you guys are seemingly, it seems to me that a lot of you are not so well balanced. You guys are putting a little bit too much focus right now. It could, you know, this is an overview. It's not going to apply to all of you, but a lot of you are putting a lot of undue focus on the physical aspects of life. So whatever we talked about in the first card, whatever that represented for you, whether it was food, money, cars, whatever, houses, a lot of you are dwelling on that. Your thoughts are kind of centered around that, and that's definitely a negative. The idea of fear of lack is something that's very negative. That's not a positive emotion. It's not a positive vibration. So that's kind of the thoughts that are holding you back. This card here, the Six of Swords, represents how to change your thoughts to make forward progress. And the Six of Swords is telling me right now that you need to move away from what you're used to. You're used to having those thoughts. They're just part of your programming, right? You instantly, you look at your bank account and your first thought is, that's not enough, right? Are you guilty of that? But you need to shift the way you think about things. You need to shift the way you think so that you can manifest more of what you want. If you're focused on what you don't have, you're just going to create more of not having it. So when you look at your bank account, if you're going to make that shift towards positivity, instead of saying, oh, that's not enough, say, I am so lucky to have this money. With this money, I can do whatever I want. And if you're going to just look at it as a negative thing, then that's what it's going to be. So I think this card is asking you guys to shift your way of thinking to one of more positivity, to one of more abundance. You know, whenever you find yourself thinking about how much you lack, turn it around and say, you know, I'm so grateful for what I do have. And just that energy alone, that place of mind, just being in that space, will change your life drastically. It'll help you to create. Alright, this card here represents actions sabotaging your own progress. And we have the Lovers. I'm getting the feeling that your closest personal relationships are problematic for you at this time. maybe some of you are you're invested too much in these relationships. Maybe for others you're not enough, but whichever end of the spectrum you fall on, I'm getting the sense that the close personal relationships that you have are kind of causing you a little bit of problems. And as far as the action goes, I think I see a lot of you putting too much effort into some of these relationships, and so when you don't get to what you think you received, you think you deserve to receive, that sends you into this emotion, right? You put everything you have into the relationship, and then when it's not reciprocated, you get emotionally disturbed and upset. And so I think for a lot of you, for most of you, putting so much work into your relationship is actually hurting you. Think about it. If you're too attached, and that means a lot of us sometimes will put a lot of pressure on our partners to give us what we need because we depend on them so heavily, when a more healthy approach would be to love them for who they are and not be dependent on them. You know what I mean? So this card here is how to change actions to make progress. And this is the Six of Wands. This is saying become more of a leader. Like I said, if you depend on your partner or whatever closest relationships you have, if you depend on that person to make you happy, then, you're going to be up and down on you're going to be at their mercy. Like on the whims of that person is how you're going to feel. So this card is telling you to take more responsibility for your happiness, take more responsibility for how you feel, and especially in your relationships, and make it your mission to make yourself happy. No one else can make you truly happy. You have to be happy with yourself before you can accept love from anyone else. So I think this card is asking you to become more of a leader, to become more independent, and especially in your closer relationships, and take a more of a leadership role in your life, because you don't want to be dependent on other people. This card represents where you will be after you make the changes outlined in this spread, and we've got the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands is someone who is in charge, someone who knows what to do, someone who's going to do what needs to be done, but is not going to do it ruthlessly, is going to be compassionate towards others in that process. Ultimately, she's worried about herself first and foremost, but at the same time, if she can help others, she will. So I think that's what we're leading towards. If this is you before this spread, and then you make all these changes, this could be you afterwards. Someone who's a little bit more well-rounded, not so concerned with fear and worry, and more concerned about with creating and putting that action into the world that's going to create. And so that's a great transition, I feel like, going from that to that. I think that would be a very cool thing to happen. So let's get an overview of what this spread is telling us. First of all, it's saying a lot of you Cancers are kind of really in the grips, wrapped up in the physicality of this world right now, and worried about money, worried about lack, not enough. And so I think emotionally, you're going to have to not be so cold and restricted and cut off from other people. I think you need to take a more concerted effort in sharing who you are and how you feel. Don't be afraid to, I know a lot of Cancers, and when they're upset about something, they don't talk about it. They hate talking about it. And I think that's something that Cancers, you guys really need to make a shift if you want to become a more well-rounded person. You need to be able to talk about your emotions, even if it's uncomfortable to you, because that not only will endear you to other people and make them share their emotions with you, but that'll also bring you closer in that relationship, and it'll help you to process and understand why you're feeling that way. When we're closed off, we don't really get a chance to process our emotions. So that's that. As far as thoughts, again, the thoughts are on kind of negative thoughts here. I'm getting the idea that a lot of you are kind of seeped in negativity at the moment. So it's going to take a little bit of a shift, a transition to get your thoughts onto a more positive track. Shift that. Try to catch yourself whenever you're thinking a negative thought. Try to flip it and see if you can't reverse it and find the good in whatever you're criticizing or being upset about or worried about. As far as your actions, I think your close personal relationships, you probably not hold on too tightly. Okay, don't get so wrapped up into your relationships that you're dependent on that person for happiness. Depend on no one but yourself for happiness, and that's what this card is saying here. So that you are more of a full spectrum human. You're not someone who's dependent on others. And if you do those things, you are going to become the Queen of Wands, someone who knows what to do, is willing to do it, is going to do it compassionately. That's just a great shift from this Four of Pentacles guy who's just so worried about himself, where you can start worrying about yourself but others as well. So that's going to do it for this spread. If you guys want a more personalized reading, like I said at the beginning of the episode, go to my Etsy shop. The link's in the description. Put in promo code FriendsAndFam50 for half price this month of April. And I will do a more specific reading tailored to you. If you have any questions, shoot me a question to see if that's something I can read on. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any and all questions you put in the comment section. So if you got something out of this, please leave a like. Happy taroting. Peace.